Welcome back to Whisky Wins with me, Stuart. Today we've got 8 Doors independent bottler or independent bottled Seven Sons, which is just their range of independently bottled whisky, whilst we wait for their actual spirit to be released. This is an 18-year-old blended Scotch, which means it's got malt and grain in there, and it's minimum 18-year-old. 44.5% ABV, and I picked it up when I was in John O'Groats. Me and the wife done the North Coast 500 last week, and that's why there wasn't a video. So yeah, I picked it up there for £64, and you can actually pick it up right now from Aberdeen Whisky Shop for £54. So it's on sale. So I've lost out on a tenner, but I managed to pick it up from the distillery, and it was a bottle that I managed to kind of get through. I don't know if you can see. Get through whilst I was touring the North Coast 500. So yeah, I was having a couple of these at night because it was one of the whiskies that I'd opened, and I also bought some Thompson Bros glasses because one of mine broke, so now I've got 2 of these bad boys again. So yeah, non-chill filtered, no added colouring, refill sherry butt, and we'll get down to it. We'll get down to the nose, the palate and the finish, and see if it's a Whisky Win or a Whisky Bin. So yeah, the nose, I think the nose is quite kind of alcoholic initially. It can be or feel a little off-putting, and there are some grainy notes there, grainy elements that you also might find off-putting. But that being said, I think the grain brings this kind of creamy, fudgy. Once you get past it might be this glass as well, because this glass does direct the nose quite bad, I would say. It's not the best for nosing glass, but it is good for tasting. I mean, it's not the worst, but I feel like the Thompson Bros glass for some reason does, or it is easy to get a lot of the alcohol fumes, so you kind of need to make sure you position your nose well. Yeah, I'd say that the malt to grain ratio probably favours the latter. I don't actually know what the ratio is on this, but I'd reckon that it's at least like 70-30 or something. I would need to ask Ryan. I've not actually asked Ryan about this, but yeah, I think it's more grain than it is malt. There is like a spiced kind of malty loaf there, maybe with some, like, I don't know, syrup drizzled on it. And I also get a kind of, to go along with the kind of alcoholic presence, but like pear schnapps. It's been a while since I've smelt pear schnapps. My mum used to have peach schnapps, but I'm sure I've smelt pear schnapps before. Now I'm just saying schnapps over and over again. Schnapps, schnapps and schnapps. But yeah, it's like that. It's quite pungent with the alcohol and with the kind of pear. But that being said, it's not a bad nose, it's just you need to get past the grain. If you're not a big grain fan, you might struggle with this. And I'm not the biggest grain fan, but I'm finding the nose, with the qualities that it's got, redeeming and standing up to the grain. So the palate. Now, this, again, there's an instant bitterness to it that kind of reminds me, I've been having, because we were in the van, we were touring the North Coast 500 in a hired camper van. I was using an AeroPress coffee, which is basically like a French press, a cafetiere, and the remnants of the coffee, the ground coffee that's left in the mug sometimes, because sometimes the ground coffee just escapes the filter. Maybe not straight away, but you've left that coffee mug for a while and you've got the last bit of it, and it's a bit cold at the bottom and you just decide to drink it. It's like that. It's a little bitter, but I love coffee, so it's not bad, but some people might be put off by that just because of the bitterness of it. It's definitely woody on the palate as well, but like I say, even though it's a kind of bitter dram, it's really moreish, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's because the bitterness kind of draws your saliva away, and you need more, and you're wanting more to lubricate it again. That sounds weird, but yeah, it is moreish. There's nutmeg, there's like cigar leaf, there's also, I'm going to say suggestions because it's very subtle, but like suggestions of like dried plum. And carrying on with the grain aspect, there is a kind of synthetic syrup element that reminds me of the ones that you get like at coffee shops like Costa or Starbucks or whatever, but like the pure form of it, so not actually in the coffee, not making it sweet, but I'm sure when you get these syrups, like they're almost really kind of bitter and tangy, just in their pure form until you mix it in. I'm trying to imagine something, I don't know if that's the best analogy, but something like that, almost like molasses, like when you get molasses until you've mixed it in, or Bovril or something, like until you've mixed it in and kind of diluted it, that's when you get the flavours, but initially it's really strong and overpowering. So I'm not saying it's strong and overpowering, but I'm saying it's like that kind of synthetic sweetness that might be a little bit bitter at first until you dilute it. So that's the best way I can describe it. So hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, I actually really enjoy the palate. I think the bitter element and the kind of nutmeg and the cigar leaf, it's just quite a, I would say it's quite an acquired palate then, if you're not necessarily, if you're maybe a novice into whiskey drinking, it could be a bit of acquired palate. The finish is medium, there's lots of nuttiness, lots of nuts. There's something that like, it somewhat reminds me of the greys or the, what they call the naked bars. So it's like that kind of mushed to combine it into a bar like that, the fruits, the nuts, the pips, everything just into that little condensed bar that's a little bit greasy, a little bit sticky, so it is sweet, but it's also bitter and it's also chewy. Just that in the palate, nutty, dried fruit, all in the finish, all in the finish just there, as if you've just eaten one of those bars. They're full of sugar, by the way. Maybe not the best, the healthiest things, but yeah, they're those, I think you know what I'm on about, the greys or the naked bars that are quite, they almost taste syrupy as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'd say like the final taste is probably like pears. Obviously that pear snaps in the nose, or the palate, sorry, and then in the finish you are finishing off with pears. But yeah, we'll get down to the kind of rating of this. I mean, you can see how much I've had of it, and I've only had it over just a week and a bit maybe, or just a week. So yeah, we'll get down to the rating, and if you're new here, how I rate my whiskies on 3 factors. Would I buy it again? Do I think it's worth it? And would I recommend it? So, would I buy it again? I wouldn't, because I've tried it and I have happily explored it and will continue to explore it, but I don't need another bottle of it because I want to see what else they're going to do. I want to see what else they're going to bring out, so I don't need another bottle of this. Do I think it's worth it? Yeah, I think even if the grain content is say 80-20 or 90-10, it's still worth it. It's an 18-year-old, minimum age 18-year-old whiskey with a decent ABV. Yeah, it's lower than 46, 44.5, but it still provides a, it's funny that it's 44.5 and in the nose you get this kind of alcoholic, but like I say, that might be the glass. I have had it in different glasses. When I was drinking it away, I was having it predominantly in this glass. But yeah, there is definitely an alcohol presence there, even though it's 44.5. But yeah, I think it's worth it because, did I say, was that what I was on? Yeah, I definitely think it's worth it. I think £64, I mean £54 a steal. For an 18-year-old whiskey, £54 is a steal. So if you can get that from Aberdeen Whiskey Shop and you like the sound of it, get it. I mean, like I said, it is a bit nuanced, it's a bit more, it's not as easy going as other whiskies, but that's kind of what I like about it. That's the kind of appeal to this, and there are complexities and, like I said, nuanced flavours that not everybody will enjoy, but I'm enjoying it. So yeah, I think it's worth it. And would I recommend it? I wouldn't recommend it necessarily to novice drinkers. And people might just see blended Scotch and be like, oh, it's a blend, that must not be good. But it is. Yeah, I don't know if my review's done it justice with the flavours, but it is really tasty. And like I say, I have been hammering it. So yeah, I would recommend it more to experienced drinkers or people who are been into whiskey for a while, but I'd maybe struggle to recommend it to novices. However, with that being said, I'm going to stick with 2 out of 3. It's a Whisky Win. I hope you've enjoyed the review. I've been Stuart, this has been Whisky Win. I'll see you later.